Hey gang, Dixie again, just checking in. So, since we last talked, we lost immunity, shocker. It was pretty embarrassing. It was pretty much a blowout. I think technically, based on the tiebreaker rules, we got last place. So, yeah, Liam just pretty much ripped the band-aid off right at 7:03. So let's look at some of these heats. Aerith started us out great. 34 seconds. Super proud of my girl. Um, then I flopped, which is super embarrassing. I just have no chill during challenges where speed is a factor. Like I was trying to plan out my whole scenario. I had my desktop with my multiple screens at work. I had Discord set up on my browser at work. I had Pixlr up to put images in to do the image trick that I think that not only did we do, but I'm pretty sure Mowen did it too. And we're just pretty much better. Like, this is insane. Like, even Leah has a better time than our entire tribe. And the only reason she lost is because poor Celestia is such an effing beast. Um, yeah, Ochet, 16 seconds. Wow. This is just, wow, this is embarrassing. Um, yeah, so when you add up the times, I'm assuming that Zag and I really weighed us down because collectively we added over 14 minutes to our team's total score, um, which I think, I don't, it's close for Lendell if they even had that much total. But long story short, we got third, so we are technically going to be voting out the 22nd place person. Yeah. So these crazies, they're just on a tear. I hope that we maybe get something that is not so suited to their unique talents. But no, honestly, this tribe is just really good in general. So I think they're going to be good at most stuff. Then we got to the keys. So we'll do the boring one first. No one on Gelmir played a key. I think that Quill and Crash would probably have tried to play a key if they had one, but unfortunately for them, they didn't get one, as far as I know, so there was no play. But then I actually screamed at this. Celestio coming in with the 190. So I think the question becomes, did Lendell throw because they had two options potentially in Carrie and Celestia after the banjo boot? Um, so that's my girl, that's my sister. I am proud of her for getting the F out of Dodge. I just hope that it isn't a waste. Um, and that she would have been fine this round and could have used it next round because yeah, that's just crazy. I mean, maybe looking at some of these times, Daisy seems to have a pretty good time, but I think you either kind of get this challenge or apparently you don't because uh, basically you were under a minute or you were over 4 in this challenge. And we have a lot of 2 minute ish folks on Lindell. So I don't know if they threw. That Symmetra score seems a little bit sussy. Carrie probably just wasn't great at the challenge. That 8 minute 11 seconds is crazy, but it was almost me, so I can't really judge. But I would have thought Evie would have been better. Celestia freaking Beast did that. Like, clearly she does not feel good. And in fact, it's so funny that I should say that because I am 95% sure that I'm going to answer you in just a minute, Spyro. I'm not even looking at what you wrote. We've got We got where are you, Melina? Announcements. No. Archive links. Site of Grace. Erdtree. Aha. So she wrote Get It Twisted Gamble, and she said, don't you understand? And the original copy paste, I think, is you understand. And so if you go back to our cute little Alliance archives, that's exactly what she said she would do if she was in danger. She said she would say do if she was good. She would say don't if she wasn't. And although the Vivian emoji isn't in there, I'm pretty sure this is Celestia trying to tell Doom and I that she is in a bad spot. So it gets tough because if we have another double, it would be so nice to finally win and not have to worry about being dissolved. But I do think we have one more pretty much cemented boot on this side of the aisle. So it might be a gamble worth taking if it can keep Celestia in the game for the swap. So we will find out. But yeah, let's go see what Spyro had to say. Very short-sighted. See, I get in these little tizzies where I'm like distracted. Okay. Not sure I completely disagree with Crash there. No shade, Jay. But I do think that there is kind of, I've talked about this before, but basically, you know, when we got here, Quilava's been struggling a bit socially, and it's not even really his fault. It's just that this is a tribe of social stars and zero competition prowess. And so he's pleasant and nice, but I think that you have to really keep up with the beat here. Conquer, Zag, Aerith, myself were all very snappy with the comments, very fast. Crash super engaging, Spyro super engaging as well. Quilava's completely adorable and a sweetheart. He just maybe isn't on that level. It was really the fact that Spyro kind of felt as though Quilava was being targeted because of their marriage that Quilava didn't go first here. And in fact, I personally thought that it should have been Crash, then Quilava, then Drybones, but that kind of got discombobulated. I got vetoed on that ideal perfect universe. So here we are at Tribal. With Celestia gone from Lindell and no Invader, I mean, I think Carrie's probably toast, right? Because why, like, they had an entire round without her. But who knows? Maybe she has the idol. Maybe she has the Kaled idol. I would scream if she idled out Girl, or if she idled and Girl idled, and then they had to go back to the drawing board. Wouldn't that be crazy? If it was a 0-vote tribal council? But I think that, and my alliance and I, the activists, we kind of discussed basically our kind of view of the game board, so to speak, on where we think all of the alliances are. Not the alliances, but the advantages. And so I think that original Limgrave, apparently Crash told Conquer and Zag that Zero told Crash that he has it. And then obviously Lara Croft left with the Liurnia idol. With Caelid, I think that the most likely possibility, if Aerith is being transparent with me that it wasn't her and she doesn't think that it was Ochette, I would think that it was Steve. But apparently Carrie was also online at that time, so I guess we're about to find out. So yeah. Then the Altus idol. I mean, there's been some word on the street that Quilava told Spyro that Bones told him kind of in the last hour that Bones actually had the idol, which I mean is kind of deja vu of Battle Royale 3 because he also had an idol there and didn't tell people about it until later. But I'm not ruling out the fact that it could be Iron Mouse or Daisy or somebody else. And then Girl has the Lockout idol. And then the Invaders, Sailor Iron Mouse has used hers already. So she has an extra vote. According to Drybones, he thought the other person was Daisy. So, and then Zag has told me and Aerith and Conquer that he has the third Invader. So that's kind of where I'm anticipating that all of the prizes are at right now. So we'll see what happens with the vote. I think that if Carrie doesn't have an idol, I don't know in what universe it makes sense for her to stay. But at the same time, Daisy can kind of be chaotic. So maybe Daisy takes a swipe at Nate. I don't know. We'll see. As for our tribe, let's see. I'm going to try and keep this generally brief, but I do want to just do a quick tier ranker to close out the round. I think I plugged everybody in reverse order and then myself in the wrong direction. I should be between Quilava and Crash, but I'm between Conquer and Earth. So my tiers today are S+, S, S-, A, and B. So Zag really has been talking a lot more game with me lately, which is good. Today we went over the idol stuff. He shared that with me. I do think he has some interesting ideas about how to play the next round. Because if everything goes to plan with Crash leaving here, he is suggesting that one of Conquer or I use the key to escape tribal. And basically, he thinks that might alleviate the fact that Quilava would be the likely boot, because he would basically tell Spyro that it's okay to vote for him, but then Aerith and I would vote for Quilava with Zag. So I think it's fun to talk about innovative ways that we can navigate the game. So I appreciate it a lot. One interesting thing is that Aerith did confirm to me today that apparently the 4-person proposed group of Spyro, Aerith, Conquer, and Zag has been formed. So that's the first alliance that, at least on this tribe, that I've been excluded from. Again, Spyro told me that was being floated. Zag told me the same. Spyro's rationale is that he doesn't think that people know that we're as close as the association between Spyro and Aerith would be, based on the fact that they were both original Caelid. So I'm not too worried about it. I trust that Conquer and Zag are with me over that group. And I think Aerith ultimately would probably rather eliminate one of the boys before Spyro, just because we did kind of have a little bit of a just transparency session. She asked me if I was in a threesome with Conquer and Zag, 3 tickets to Challengers, y'all. But no, I'm not. I answered honestly. I don't have a formalized three-person alliance with them. Um, and that was when Aerith told me about the four. And then also she said that she's Spyro, and Ochette had an alliance on Caelid. I admitted that Celestia, Banjo, and I had our Goth Girl Zoo on Liurnia. I didn't mention the Doom Alliance, or well, I guess the two Doom Alliances, the one that was the three from Goth Girl Zoo and Doom, and then the one that was Celestia, me, and Doom. Um, just because I don't know that it's even going to be that relevant in the grand scheme of things. So we'll see. I might eventually have to circle back to that, so I don't get caught not copying to things. But yeah, I'm just trying to be as transparent as I can be, basically. So that I think that when you try to be super tricky and withhold certain information, it just gets hard to keep track of, and people sometimes pick up on a vibe. And so I definitely want to be as, I don't want to actively hide information from certainly my allies at this point. Spyro is also going to be an S. He seems nervous about this vote, and really wants Quilava to stay, because Quilava really wants to make jury, and I understand, and I don't expect him to not want his husband to stay around. But I do think that regardless of whether Conqueror uses a key next round, there's no universe where I don't vote for Quilava to leave next. But the key idea is interesting and might make it a little bit more palatable to Spyro. So we will see. Spyro has told me he's fine with Quilava leaving next. I'm taking that with a grain of salt. But yeah, we'll see. Quilava is gonna be, he's gonna be a B tier. So Quilava's so cute. He made a little alliance with he proposed an alliance of Spyro, Aerith, and I. So we are now the Sleep Squad or something. Let's check. Oh no. Yeah, that is a little bit annoying. I feel like how do you spell dismantle? What the fuck? I think that's right. Okay, so I just want to show y'all the cute little alliance that it's Team Sleep, and Jamie made it, and it's just very surface, very just pleasant, and yeah. I mean, I'm proud of Quilava for taking the initiative. But yeah, it's not a very extensively documented alliance. Whereas, you go over to the activists and it's very, very active. Okay, I'm going to have to go back to all of these people later. But just to finish this out, Quilava is going to be in the B tier just because this tribe is so amazing that it's really hard. Every vote is hard. And that kind of brings me to Crash, who seems really frustrated with the situation. And in a way, I do understand the frustration. At the same time, I mean, Jay is right when he just said to me that, there is a certain. I mean, Limgrave still has 7 people left. So I'd rather, just from a numbers perspective, vote between the choices of Crash and Quilava. They're close enough where I feel a little bit more secure moving forward, just having Quilava as the backup rather than Crash. But Crash, I told him, I feel like you're the first vote here. Well, actually, I didn't tell him that exactly because I didn't tell him I was definitively voting for him. But I said to him, I said, Crash, I think that this sucks because this feels like the first vote where I've been at where nobody has really done anything from the perspective of the group to warrant having votes cast their way. So with Vivian, she threw out Lara's name and then kind of disappeared. With SV and Lara, SV kind of spiraled and was part of a 4-3 vote that almost took Celestia out. And then Lara played an idol on herself the same night and then went home the next round, basically because of that. And then the Dry Bones vote, I think Dry Bones kind of got a raw deal, but people were able to paint him in a way where they were able to characterize it as him stirring the pot and pitting sides, so to speak, against each other. Duos, I guess you could say, against each other. So with this vote, there's really none of that. It's just kind of a sad and somber vibe. And I hate that we're just in this situation because we're on a tribe that is just really struggling physically. I mean, as physical as org challenges can be. So, Crash is a lovely person, and I'm going to put him in A. It's not that I necessarily like him more than Jamie. I think that both are lovely, but I think that Crash as a player is getting a raw deal in this situation, and I do feel really bad if he's the one that's going home tonight. I never speak in certainties in confessionals just because there's always even if it's an infinite or like a very small, not infinite, it's not the right word, like a super, like very likely vote, there's always that small percentage that could go wrong. And so who knows, maybe I can twist myself into knots over scenarios where it could be me tonight for hours and hours, but we're not going to do that here. Conquer S plus. I really enjoy Conquer. We have really great banter. He's a very good social player. I was looking back at some of the stuff that I had commented about him in Battle Royale 4, and I think I was spot on when I said Conquer could lead a cult, because he's very on in DMs. I think that we click, but I think that he really knows how to work a room. I think it sounds like he already has kind of patched up things with Quill, confirming kind of where the vote's going to go. So I think that I really adore Conquer, but I recognize what a kind of dangerous player he could be. So it really is going to come to a point where some tough decisions are going to have to be made on kind of the direction that the game is going to go. Potentially. I mean, there's still some stormy seas to navigate before we get to those really hard decisions. There's making it to the dissolve, surviving the dissolve, especially if we're the tribe that gets dissolved, etc. Aerith and I had a pretty good gab session today that I alluded to earlier. And I'm feeling confident, going forward. I think we're in a decent place. And I I just envy her ability to take such a more relaxed approach to these games where she can step away and kind of fade in and out and do it seamlessly, whereas I'm just like hyper online and ready to org whenever. But when she's around, she's around. And I mean, that's part of the reason why we became such good friends, because we have good rapport and good banter. So then is this my final three then? My S plus tier? Well, I don't know. It's hard to say because I am really hoping and praying that I can hook back up with Celestia, but potential for final 4/5 vibes with Zag. It's going to be so complicated if some of these really great relationships make it to the merge. But yeah, that's kind of where my tier list is at for the tribe. It's looking like with about an hour and 7 minutes to go that it's probably going to be unanimous for Crash to go. Zag mentioned he might throw a vote at Spyro, but honestly, I've been giving Crash nothing but fluff today, and I feel pretty crappy about it. And so if I'm the one that gets astray, I don't care. I don't blame him. I'm not too concerned. Just looking at the board though, if you take out, let's say, Crash and Carrie, and then honestly, I think that the best case scenario would be if it's a gamble, but if we lose again and Lindell can somehow pull out a W, then Celestia's around to probably make it to the dissolve portion. They probably get rid of potentially an easy vote in DK over on Mogwim if they lose. And I think that winnows the field a bit to make it a bit more workable in a dissolve if it's, say, at 18 into two new groups of 9. Well, 2 tribes that absorb the other one into tribes of 9. Because otherwise I feel like in another world we could win, but then theoretically you would be switching out Quilava for Celestia just because of Celestia's kind of SOS message. So we'll see if Doomslayer picks up on what I picked up on and doesn't try as hard in the next challenge. I don't know if it's in his nature to do that or not, but I guess we will see. Let's see what Jay's response was to being featured in the confessional. Okay, so yeah, looks like that does it for us. Tribal in 65 minutes. Pray for me. Dixie out.